All right, fellas. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's doing great. I hope everyone's doing amazing, because I know I am. My name is Chad. I'm a motion designer, and I'm learning to draw every day just to prove to people that it's not that hard. Okay. Today's going. Well, dude, I just bugged out. The next couple of weeks are going to be insane. Well, the rest of the year is going to be insane. So just can't wait for that. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very interesting. We're going to meet some problems. There's going to be some problems, that's for sure. But yeah. It's gonna be nice. Hey, we got Mocking Bay in the chat. What's up, folks? Driving home right now, actually, and you're watching the stream? That's what's up, my brother. Hey, be safe. Be safe though. How are y'all? I think there's only me at this point right now, but I'm doing great. I'm doing amazing. You know, I can't complain about anything. Yeah. How about you? How's the drive so far? Is it far? Is it like a long drive? Not driving? Yeah, I know. It's okay. You'll get to drive. Actually, one of my goals. I don't have a driver's license, and one of my goals this year is to get a driver's license. So very far, many hours. Yeah. One thing that's kind of like maybe good in here is that, you know, our country is so small. We don't really have like car travels that take hours. Maybe like the longest is gonna be like what, 4 hours, maybe like 6 hours tops. But other than that, or maybe not, maybe actually, okay, it can get to a good 8 hours, but no more than that. That's like the farthest it can get. Alright, let's draw this pose, this guy right here. It's interesting, it's kind of difficult, a lot of foreshortening, and I'm just trying to have fun with it. I don't really care. I don't really care about anything. Just trying to mess around. Okay, there's a layer. Oh, there you go. Just trying to mess around. Respect to setting goals. That's what's up. That is what is up. Yeah, setting goals, it's very important. What's important along with setting goals is to actually use your imagination and imagine yourself at the spot where you want to be. And so if you want to get like a specific car, imagine that car, print it out, you know, look at it. This is actually what I'm gonna do. I have a car in mind that I want to get, so yeah. Let's draw this dude. So you got this right here. The horizon line is in here. So I got this. This is the line. There's a line here. And there's this. There's this here. This is here. And then there's this. You know, let's lay out the basic forms first. I think that's a good idea. And then this goes kind of like this. And then this one's kind of like in here. Goes all the way up. And there it is. It's very rainy where I am right now. It actually rained earlier, but it gets kind of like hot, and then it rains, and then it gets hot again. It's kind of like a weird weather right now. I can't decide how it wants to be. This is sort of like it goes here. All right, and then from here. We have the arm, and the arm is kind of he's holding the gun, but this is a really bad hand right there. We'll see about it. There you go. We've got a shoe that goes in that direction. Let's pick it up. And a shoe that goes in this direction. Okay, there you go. That's it. I think he looks like he's floating. All right, I'm gonna go low, just drop by. Hey, take care. Let Flaws know I said hi. If bro drops by, adios folks. I think hopefully he sees the chat. If he doesn't, then I will. Take care, my brother. I think that's a big hit. I think, yeah, I think this is kind of enough. Okay, let's try to fix the hand because it's bugging me, bruh. Oh, this is easy now. Like, I don't even need to know the anatomy and everything. Obviously, I need to study the anatomy. But just like, you know, the shapes, just based on the shapes, I think I'm fine. Okay, this dude has like, what is that? Yes, sir. Now doing poses, let's go. We are. I've been doing poses for a long time, but I feel like I'm kind of more comfortable with them now. Also, by the way, I don't know if you can see the chat or not, but Mockingbay says hi. He's a nice dude, that fella. I'm trying to do the folds of the clothes, but I guess not. I guess I'm not foreshortening them enough. The limbs, for example. Yeah, but this is not bad overall. Like, this is easy for me now. I used to struggle with this, but now this is easy. Bro, drawing, we are. Oh yeah, just saw that chat. The Giga chat is streaming. You look way better in your personal life than the first time I met you. Really? That's interesting. Glad you made it. The craziest is you made lives almost every day more than a year. Respect, bro. Yeah. Honestly, I've never, if I was like, you know, a couple years back, if you told me that I was going to be streaming, doing this, or committing to something every day, I'd be like, nah, bro, you capping. I was not seeing myself doing any of this. But it's a reality now, and I think, I don't know, it's inspiring even to me, like right now, you know what I mean? But yeah. Hopefully I'm trying to have this expand to other aspects of my life. Yeah, and that's great. Joe, what is up? We are drawing. Long time no see, Joe. Hopefully you've been watching. I don't know if you have or not. You're kind of like when you disappear, you kind of like you don't leave traces even when you're here. The live studio, the YouTube's live studio doesn't really help me because sometimes it's delayed, and so it sometimes shows me that there's a person watching, but is it Joe? Is it not? Who knows? But yeah. Fast Bro really said, nah, I'm not doing this. Cut to 2025. Yeah. 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 I mean, you gotta believe it, right? Ooh, Apple Man. Ooh, this is an interesting pose. Alright, I think we'll leave it for tomorrow. Just checking you dipping in and out for real. Yeah, I think I'm finna dip as well. Oh, actually, this guy feels like he's floating, so maybe we can give him some, you know, space to be in. Ah, okay, I see. Now see, this is important. Now this leg, this foot looks fine because it feels like it's on the ground. This one feels like it's up. Ah, this is very interesting. I've never really done this before. And so it's very foreshortened. How do you, whoa, okay, this is trippy. I think that kind of works. It feels chunky though. I think that's fair. That feels like it's grounded, right? Is it grounded? Does it feel like it's on the ground? I think so, right? Wait, if I give it, wait, hold on. I'm going to read the chats just a second. I want to give this like a boxy shape so I understand what the hell is going on. Right, that feels like it's on the ground. Ooh, you know what? I need to practice my boxes more. Yeah, I ain't checking my moves for real. Right foot, wrong angle. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Pick the boot shape and trace it. Trace it? I don't want to trace. I know it's a really good exercise, but I don't know why my PC from school is locked in. Right now my Roblox runs so smooth. Huh? Your PC from school? What you mean? That's very fun. That is really fun. Foot too much past his right arm. Oh my god. Well, what do I do? I mean, the distance here is just... Right? Shall we fix the foot? It's the foreshortening. That's what I'm messing up is the foreshortening. So if we go sort of like this, right? The distance will shorten. Okay, wait a minute. This is okay. Are we cooking right now? This is just a boxy leg. Much better? Yeah, I think so too. But also, is the angle here? Is it the same as here? I guess, yeah. Yeah. Oh, this foot. What a chunky boot, or whatever it is. Does it still feel like it's not grounded? I don't know. It's better than before, that's certain. I think that's okay. Right? It's a little messy, but it's okay. Just by placing a grid on top of the image, you can figure out the positioning. A grid? Okay. Make them a grid with 4 lines vertical and 4 lines horizontal. All right. Here's maybe my mistaken perception on grids, either grids or tracing. I feel like they make the job too easy. Am I wrong? Like, if they feel like cheating. Did I start the cheating debate with you, or is it with Keanu? I don't know. It feels like maybe it's okay, like it'll get the job done, obviously. But it's like, okay, but I can't do it by myself. I can't really do it without the grids. Right? Am I tripping? Tell me I'm tripping. Oh wait, hold on. Guess you're wrong, because you're not good enough to call them easy. Man, shut your... Okay, yeah, you're right. Right foot looks like it's hanging, should be more horizontal. Yeah, it's all... I'm still very... Oh, wait. Nah, I don't know. Foreshortening is... It's not one of my strongest weaknesses. No grid, no tracking club. Tracing, yeah. 2-point perspective? Yeah, okay, well, about the perspective, maybe I can just like do one of those grids that motherfuckers be doing. Right, that kind of helps. Yeah. This foot. How are we doing? It's the overlap. It's either the overlapping or I don't know what it is. We'll leave it at this. Yeah, we'll leave it at this. I think that feels much better. Deadass talking. So you know how to use it? Prove to me then. A grid. 30-year-old comment. Wait a second. Bro, you talking about, okay, you talking, try it. Let me see if like we're on the same page here. So you're saying just like get a grid like this, for example? Or let's do it on this guy, just so we understand. Fun. What the son of a gun. So is this what you mean? Let me know, right? So like one here, for example, let's drop another one, and let's drop another one. And so basically based on this like grid, you know that the head is positioned here. And so you create sort of like smaller pieces you can work with, and so you know where things are basically, right? So for example, here this one arm cuts the line in the middle, right? So that helps. But I don't know, it feels like without those lines I would not be able to do it, right? And so this, for example, it goes a little bit far, and so you do this, and you've got this here, and so it's, I don't know, I don't know. I feel like if I work on my perspective, you can measure the positioning across the image. I know, but I would rather measure the positioning based on like the relationships between the angles, between the shapes and the angles themselves, and the points, like if this is here and this is here, not copying the grid to use the lines to see if your copy is accurate. I see what you mean. I do see what you mean. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try it on another pose. I don't know if actually I'm going to tomorrow or not, but yeah. Yeah, I think that feels a little better at least, right? How do I take out the grids? Because they're getting annoying. Come on. Goodbye. But yeah. Honestly, thank you for notifying me on that. I would have just like went by and not really paid much attention to it. And this is maybe something that I really need to work on. So, okay, let me actually take notes because I forget very often. The grids, using the grids. Tracing. What else? Perspective. Yes. There you go. I think it's easy because the method is easy, but you're not wrong. Wait, hold on. I skipped a lot. You can measure the position across the image, not copying. Yeah. Now make a vertical line on your drawing. A vertical line? What do you mean? Go search up for bar grid method. Okay, will do. This is, let me. Bro, it's killing me. Oh, it says you're like, yeah, duh, instead of you, this. Everybody's catching up on the lingo, Joe. By the way, you think it's easy because the method is easy and you're not wrong, but you're still lacking the mental grid, and to get the mental grid you need to place real grids first. Okay, look, you have more experience than me, so you probably know more and better than me. However, okay, I feel like if you use those grids, and you know, like I said, you know better than me, so it's probably true. But if you use that grid instead of like actually helping yourself and expecting yourself to it's like those the two wheels on the sides on a bicycle. Okay, I rode a bicycle without the two wheels. Some people rode the bicycles with the two wheels, and then they slowly transitioned away from the wheels, and they started going with the only the bicycles, right? I feel like if you use the two wheels, it will not, you will start relying on them too much, and you would not be able to ride the bike with only two wheels, not four, right? So that's kind of like my stance on it. I'm not sure, you tell me. Hopefully you understand what the hell I'm saying first. But I've never seen you doing them ever. Yeah, I've never done them. Yeah, I haven't. So you reckon like, oh, try them and then see for yourself? Sure, sure, we can do that. What is it called? I didn't copy it. Ba, 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 ba. Wait, if there's like a video on it, we'll watch it right now. What is it called? Barg? Balg? Barg Great Methods. Great method. Okay. Barg drawing. Okay, interesting. Wait, hold on. What is Barg plates? How to grid every size. Is there a good video on it? I think of it like this what? Is one of the doors that are possible, but it's not all the doors you see. How to draw accurate proportions. Okay, there's a short video on it. We'll watch this. In art, they maybe Stephen Dolan, Barg Drawing Lesson 1. Okay, we'll do that. Let's see. Okay, this is 20 minutes, bro. Yeah, okay. This is 15 minutes. We can watch it. We can watch this one. Barg Drawing Part 1. How to do Barg Drawing. Sure, yeah, we can do this one.
Hi, I'm Stephen Baum.
Hold on, Stephen Bauman. Got the music.
And today we're going to be talking about Barg drawings. But first I want to give you a little... Hi, I'm Stephen Bauman, and today we're going to be talking about Barg drawings. But first I want to give you a little background on this new content model that I'm working on. I have some new live streaming equipment that gives me the possibility to kind of create some dynamic content, but pretty quickly. And this is going to be the first of hopefully many installments of me kind of talking about subjects that I think you guys are really interested in because you're contacting me about it, but also stuff that I think is just kind of cool and educational. So let's start out first with this question. It's from a guy named Phil Bennett, who's a Patreon subscriber of mine. So this is the message that Phil sent to me, and I'm just going to cut to the parts that are actionable for our purposes. He writes, self-education is where the purpose of my message comes in. If you don't mind me asking, of course. I'm trying to organize my own journey in a purposeful way. Your conceptual sphere and pair tutorials have been absolutely outstanding in this regard. My question is concerning Barg plates. It's my understanding that you and so many others have spent time with the plates during your education. I wonder how much time should be given to the practice and study of the plates. So what are Barg drawings, first of all? Barg drawings were a set of lithographs made by an artist named Charles Barg in the 19th century for the École des Beaux-Arts in France. It was there to replace an old drawing course that was made with a little bit of a different philosophy in mind. I was introduced to it first at the Florence Academy of Art where I studied, and there's a couple other schools around the world that use this. And in fact, probably right now, a lot of different ateliers are using this because graduates from these various academies have gone out and started their own schools. And so really, Barg drawings have kind of come back into the norm for a lot of ateliers and students training in that way. But I want to spend some time with the plates themselves, so let's switch cameras and get to the actual drawings themselves and talk about and maybe dissect some of the concepts and purposes behind spending your time with Barg drawings. So this is the cover of the Charles Barg drawing course, and this book came out maybe not too long ago. When I was first starting to study at the Academy, I think this book had come out very recently.
Is this what Take two, I think of it like this manner is one of the abilities from drawing to React Live now. Yeah, no, we've done a lot of reacting as well. I gotta go. Sorry, bye, Giga Chat. Hey, thank you so much for being here, brother. Joe, is this what we're talking about? Go Ram. All right.
recently, and I remember going to an exhibition at the Hesh Museum, which was in the IBM building in Manhattan at a certain point in time, and that's where I sort of bought my first copy of it. It was a great book full of really fantastic artworks by Charles Bargue and Jean-Léon Gérôme and other artists. I think eventually probably Charles Bargue was the prize of that group. I think in a way he was one of the greatest painters to come out of that moment in art history.
Damn,
but that's a matter for
he
opinion.
ups
If you get to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, there's a really great painting that he made there. I believe it's called the Sentinel. Maybe I'll actually take some time and talk about that later on in the series. But here we come to one of the Bargue plates that I wanted to talk about. And you got to understand, the Charles Bargue drawing course was something that has like a really long timeline. I don't know if there's quite 100 of them, but there's really a lot of drawings in this series. They start out with the most kind of basic things like, drawing an eye, from the side like this, like the most simple version of a drawing that you can make. That was where they started out. And eventually they become really, really complex, and you're drawing things like the Belvedere torso, which inevitably I'm going to take some time and talk about much later on. But let's start with this, right? This one is maybe not quite an intermediate Bargue drawing, but certainly it's not the most simple, definitely not the most complex. But I thought that it was representative of a couple of the really important and very basic ideas that Bargues are trying to communicate. So among them, the interesting things that you want to think about with Bargue is how he simplifies things. So let's take a look at this area right here, right? We can see an area on the kind of finished version of this, right, that is communicating like a lot of different angle breaks and a lot of complexity. And here, in the drawing that he's made on the left, which is essentially just there to indicate to you like what a block-in or a simplification or the beginning stage of making a drawing like this should look like, he's taking those sort of like 10 or 20 different angle breaks and boiled them down into basically just these kind of 3 line segments, right? And you could say even that if we take a look at the actual set of line segments there, he's really boiled all those down to kind of one slightly convex line segment that kind of ends at these 2 kind of meetings, right, with these other angle breaks, right, or these other line segments. This is really important. The sense of like angle breaks and relatively straight lines in place of complexity, it really can't be overstated that this is one of the most important things that you can understand from what Bargue's practice is. The reason that we would do anything like that would be because we want to understand how complexity can be simplified to give us flexibility in a drawing, right? What we understand in a good block-in is that it's really impermanent. A lot of the lines that we're going to use here are going to be lines that are going to be really subject to change very rapidly. In fact, for me, the early stages of my drawings, the lines that I'm making, I keep them light, I keep them loose for the purpose or the understanding of knowing that I need to really establish the entire drawing before I can actually approach something like accuracy. And that comes back to these...
Ohio Riz. Hey, they gotta do what they gotta do, brother. Maybe they they need to go to sleep or something. That's hilarious.
These angle breaks, right, and these line segments. In one moment, these angle breaks and line segments are there to kind of represent the subject. In another, they're there to cross-reference with all of the other passages within the drawing. So this little meeting...
Okay, what the hell is bro talking about?
...of 2 lines here can also be compared on a vertical axis, right, with the meeting of these 2 line segments here. And the distance in between those on a vertical axis can be helpful in indicating the location of one in relationship to the other. Now, that's something you want to just save for later, right, is that it's all about interrelationship. One point alone in space.
Interrelationship, yeah, we know that. We know that.
Really, in a sense, cannot quite be accurate in and of itself. It has to relate well to all the other subjects around it. So I'm comparing that one first on this vertical axis, but you can look also on a horizontal.
What is he doing? Did you see that? Like the line just straightened up. Cross-reference, simplification, grid comparison. That bit there, that explains it. Bro. Okay, wait. I don't know what cross-reference means. What do you mean by that? Simplification, yeah, we get it. Grid comparison? He did not mention any grids. Bro did not mention any grids.
Horizontal axis.
He talked about interrelationships between the shapes and the angles. That's
at other angle breaks that it meets up with around the subject, right? You can also compare various diagonals throughout this sort of 2D space that we're organizing here. This one, like these kind of diagonal comparisons, are a little bit more variable. I find that horizontal and vertical axis comparisons are usually a little bit more reliable. It's a little bit easier to kind of determine what a perfect vertical is that is a sort of randomly chosen diagonal.
I mean, I do that with my portraits, though. It is just a coordinate, kind of like a grid. Oh, I see. Okay, so, well, the definition of grid between us is maybe it's a bit, that's what you mean by a grid. Yeah, I do that for my portraits, too. I mean, I see, like, the point of this here, nose, and this point of the eye, and sort of, like, try to, see the angle.
throughout this sort of vertical axis has to one point. That's something you want to just save for later, right? Is that it's all about interrelationship. One point alone in space really, in a sense, cannot quite be accurate in and of itself. It has to relate well to all the other subjects around it. So I'm comparing that one first on this vertical axis, but you can look also on a horizontal axis at other angle breaks that it meets up with around the subject, right? You can also compare various diagonals throughout this sort of 2D space that we're organizing here. This one, like these kind of diagonal comparisons, are a little bit more variable. I find that horizontal and vertical axis comparisons are usually a little bit more reliable. You know, it's a little bit easier to kind of determine what a perfect vertical is that is.
I'm just so glad. I'm just so happy. Like the Marcus and Mocking Bay, my guys, they're not speaking in that language. Thankfully, they're not doing any of that. I mean, it didn't get to them yet. Maybe they're living in actually proper households. I don't know what it is, but I'm so happy they're not doing any of that.
A sort of randomly chosen diagonal, but nonetheless, we can still kind of eyeball it. We can like take the edge of our pencil and kind of compare this line segment down here to
hey,
another.
Thank you,
the other thing you can do also is just look actually at where this is pointing to, right? If I get that angle correct, it should kind of correlate well to this sort of axis here. But I digress. These line segments and these meetings that we'll call angle breaks are there both to, like I said, represent the subject, but also to be used as a tool to kind of compare to the other kind of passages of the drawing to make sure that your block-in gets hopefully as accurate as it possibly can. That's the goal here eventually, right? So another interesting thing that we can consider is like what concept is this trying to kind of tell us about? And this is where, you know, to come back to Phil's question, should I spend a lot of time with bar drawings? The answer is sure. I mean, you can draw a lot of things and make progress. One of the things that makes these bar drawings so useful today is that you have a lot of teachers, you know, myself included, who spent a lot of time working with them as a student, who spent a lot of time teaching them at various academies, and can act as a kind of guide to help you understand what it is inside these drawings that is actually interesting. You could draw them, of course, just on your own, and definitely make some progress and gain some knowledge. But really, in each drawing, there's a specific set of ideas that it's trying to tell you about. Now, let's illustrate how that works, right? So in this drawing in particular, there are a couple ideas that are super important. One is the shadow shape, light shape dichotomy, right? Let's look at this and see that we have these really crystal clear shapes of light indicated in relationship to a almost totally unified shadow value. Right? This is hugely important because it points us towards this idea that shadow is atmosphere and light is form. Now, saying that on its own can be vaguely interesting.
Shadow is atmosphere and light is form. That's interesting.
Have these really crystal clear shapes of light indicated in relationship to a almost totally unified shadow value. Right? This is hugely important because it points us towards this idea that shadow is atmosphere and light is form. Now, saying that on its own can be vaguely interesting, but unpacking what that's about is how it becomes useful, right? So when you think about atmosphere, what we're really talking about is unity. And we're describing a phenomenon that is not unlike atmospheric perspective, right? When you're looking at a mountain range in the distance.
Okay, I'm just gonna like try to guess what he's going to say. You know, when we try to like mix shadows with each other, when two objects are next to each other, and so like they share kind of like parts of the shadow, and so you just like add those together. All right.
And in between your eye and that sort of mountainside that's full of rich detail and you know, different value shapes and so on, gets muted by all of the sort of dust and you know, bits of water. What is it, like water droplets that are kind of floating around in the atmosphere, right? All of those things combined over that distance tend to kind of flatten out the value of something and unify it. And what we're doing here is actually kind of creating that effect, even though the depth in between us seeing the subject, which we're imagining, right, that this is an actual kind of 3D sculpture that he's looking at, and that this shadow actually in itself is kind of full of detail, that he has taken a artistic choice or a purposeful choice to kind of unify away probably 99% of the value variation that you'd see in here. I mean, think about it, like of course on this old sculpture there'd be like kind of cracks and little plane shifts that are happening. Maybe there's even an ear back here. Probably if there was an ear he would have included it. But suffice to say there would be some value change happening in there. But he has taken it and said, well, for my purposes I'm not going to get into that. No better place is this expressed than right here. We would understand implicitly, right, that there's a difference in between the shape, the kind of bottom plane of the nose, and the kind of front plane of the muzzle form, right? And that if there was any light bouncing around inside of this space, that light would be affecting this plane and this plane in slightly different proportions, right? That's why we always get that sense of like reflected light on the bottom plane of the nose that kind of shows you a little bit more the nostrils, right? But here he's taken that and totally unified it away to the extent that we don't see almost any value change there whatsoever, right? So this is a very case in point, like a critical example of shadow as atmosphere and light as form. Now, what does that do for you? That reveals a little bit more and kind of casts into greater importance, right, the design of the shadow shape itself. And just like the contours in the block-in, that shadow shape has line segments and angle breaks. Those line segments and angle breaks themselves become tools that you can compare to one another to triangulate and create a holistic sense of accuracy, right? So there are kind of so many layers to the lessons that you can kind of learn from these bar drawings. However, like I said, you just need a little bit of a starting point to help you unpack them. I think there's probably a lot of documentation out there, not least of which in the book that I mentioned that this is in. But also there's a lot of teachers out there that have worked on bar drawings and studied bar drawings with other instructors. So there's a lot of learning around them at the moment. And I think with just a little bit of research before you spend your time drawing a bar drawing or copying a bar drawing, I think that they can become even more valuable. If you're just intent upon sketching them because you like them and that's nice, I think that's great, but probably I wouldn't invest the greatest amount of your time because only drawing them alone without feedback, probably you're going to get half of what they're supposed to give you. Another interesting point that we can bring up here that's really useful and also uncommon to kind of students that are just starting out drawing is the absolute or the almost absolute lack of halftone value within the light shape, right? So we already established that there's going to be this dichotomy in between the shadow shape and the light shape. You can just almost just draw a line entirely around the light shape. It's an unbroken edge in between light and shadow.
I feel like there's a lot of sort of like terminology that I'm still not familiar with. The other time, I don't know if it was with you or with Keanu, there was this video about what is it called? Ah, damn, I forgot. The economy, I think design economy or shape economy. I think it's called shape economy. And it's like, bro, what the hell does economy have to do with drawing? And it's like, there's a lot of stuff that I really didn't know, and it's like, oh shit. You know, that's cool. I mean, this as well, a lot of stuff about contrast. I certainly do need to take notes. Well, I'm not gonna be taking notes today, but this video is already saved. I'm going to have to. Maybe we can do something similar next month for next month's challenge. There you go.
Shadow. And those shapes on either side of that shadow line have almost no value variation inside of them. This is so particular to bark drawings. If you looked at the drawing course that was around before bark drawings, right? I don't know who the artist who designed it was, but it was full of cross-hatching, like ornate cross-hatching, like you'd see like on like the etching of a dollar bill or whatever. And this is kind of interesting too. However, you know, it definitely represents the other side of the coin in terms of how you recreate visual phenomenon. Back to these light shapes. Let's kind of take a look for a moment. Only right here do we actually see any meaningful halftone planes represented within the light shape. Everything else in that light shape, maybe with the exception of this little trailing sort of halftone shadow that's emerging out from the shadow edge, everything except that is almost totally unified away, and we have this sense of kind of unity within the lights, which is characteristic of the kind of early stages of a drawing that's done in this manner, which is to say that we're starting from something very simple and moving on to complexity, all the way until, you know, we have a really highly refined and detailed drawing. So, you know, this could be one stage, right? This could be a second stage, and the reality, wow, let me redraw that too. This could be a second stage. And really, you could have subsequent stages after that that would increasingly kind of inform the impression of the subject by creating more complex halftone values, turning the form a little bit more. There's a lot of different things that you can kind of start to add to this to help indicate an even greater degree of complexity. But for the sake of this lesson, right, for the sake of this subject, he's kind of stayed here just to give you that indication of that really basic phenomenon or that dichotomy between shadow and light. So just to return really briefly to Phil's question, should you spend time with bark drawings? I think you absolutely should. Why wouldn't you? They're out there, they're useful, and if you kind of enjoy that aesthetic, you can definitely gain a lot from it. That being said, I'm always someone who likes to give a balanced opinion, and I also want to put out there that there's a limit to how focused you want to be on bar drawings. They're great to get you over that first stage of not knowing how to block in a drawing, not knowing what to do with your values initially, and eventually to come to a pretty complex understanding of the basics of drawing. But in reality, we eventually need to confront three-dimensional subjects. So here's your takeaways from this early stage of the bark drawing program. There's a few key concepts represented in each bark. In this one, we talked about straight lines, we talked about angle breaks, and also a really basic shadow shape, light shape dichotomy. If you can start to use those concepts to organize visual phenomenon, it's going to assist you in having a sense of flexibility.
And I was like waiting for what he's going to talk about the actual grid. Remember, just as an exercise, you need to sharpen your mental grid. Yeah. I know what you mean. And get better at comparing the placement of your shapes. Yes, that's exactly it. Honestly, like honest to God, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. That's it. But what I was trying to say, like using an actual grid and relying on it, even like at a first stage, I don't know, it feels a bit weird. That's it. You don't need to go deeper to get most of it. Now go back to that drawing. Let's analyze. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm not going back now. We can analyze it, but we're not going to correct any. Oh, I know what we can do. Okay, we are going to place the grids here. Let's get the music back. Actually, I need to make it the same, kind of like the same size first. Right, this is kind of like the same size. So okay, by just like comparing, putting them against each other. Oh wait, I'm not showing Photoshop. Here you go. By putting them against each other on Photoshop, you already just like know, right? This leg is a bit messed up. Like everything is a bit messed up slightly. The body feels fine. No, never mind. This goes higher up, and this arm right here goes here, and this goes here. So it's a whole mess. Oh, actually, the hand is. I think I see how useful the grid can be. I see it now. I feel enlightened. No, like no joke, like actually. It's better to separate them and make another vertical line for your drawing. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. But now I think I see how, because the grid, oh my God, I think I see it now. The grid is going to help you look at this stuff that maybe you can't really pay attention to because you're already thinking about other stuff. No. Actually, even you don't need to make the grids. Maybe you do. Maybe you can make the grids, you know, and it'll make looking at them and catching the relationships easier than to just like go off by yourself, and you'll get like 20% of the proportions right, and the rest is gonna be messed up. Well, I don't know where to place the line here, so it's supposedly right here, right? Let's say, for example, following this. You see, this here feels fine. We've got this little triangle here. It gets faster mentally, so you don't need to place them for real. Yeah. I see what you mean. I see what you mean now. I think I do. This little triangle here, there's like this half circle here going on as well. There's here, so this kind of like part is good. I'm gonna need to close this off. And what I mean by that is do this, drop this one here, duplicate, drop this one here, get this common in here, and in here. Let's get rid of these two. All right. Now, this line, when it comes to this line, the head is over here, so it's basically just like here. It doesn't really cross this line. But since you're not experienced, you need to place them. I see it. I see it. I exactly know what you mean now. The distance here is way less than the distance here. This is kind of fine actually. Maybe the foot is going a little over here, so and the distance here is greater than the distance here. Maybe like the foot part is like the least messed up, the least distorted. This one feels like it's in the middle, right? Yeah, kind of works. The distance here is greater than the distance here. This kind of like makes this kind of line tilted line a little bit, so this is working. Look how diagonal his shirt on the collarbone is. Yeah, I caught it earlier. Yeah, I see it. And I think that's foreshortening, bro, because look, you can see like it's just a box, right? It's a box. Wait a minute. It's a box that's just like foreshortened. This here is just a box. Right? Or we can just like go a little bit like this. But it's just a box, you know? And if I do see it that way, which I didn't really do in here, it will be like, oh, it is a box. Well, this is the horizon line is called almost like straight here, so right? What else? I mean, this is not bad, but yeah. Anyways, I think I'm gonna need to take more care of my boxes. You know, next time I would literally just like take these body parts and I would translate them to boxes. Right? I've done a little bit of that actually before starting to, because I do understand the perspective better with boxes, better than just like actual organic shapes, you know? So we can do this, right? And then we'll add the organic shape to it. Left arm is too close to the edge. That too, yes, right here. Yeah, it's a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, I do see it. It's basically in the middle, in that frame. Oh, you're talking about, oh, I see. They're talking about this one, the left one. Yeah. It's supposed to be here because it doesn't go past his body. This one. This is still part of his body. So what are you doing? Get the hell out of here. Go. You know, that already feels much better. Damn, dude. Yeah, but yeah, boxes, man. I'm going to get boxy these next couple of days. Actually, I wanna do some painting as well. I'm done with shapes, bro. No, actually no. I love drawing shapes. Just use your creativity. Wait. If you're crazy, you can use the same concept for painting. For real, for real. Just use. Wait. What do you mean? They ain't isolated concepts. I do understand that they're not isolated concepts. I mean, you referenced me to that video where he talks about, you know, how drawing and painting are, you know, related to each other. But what do you mean the same concepts? You're talking about the grid? Ah, dude, what the fuck? Oh, what the hell? Anyways. Here you go, figure. Alright, no, but I think, yeah, I think I've done one, actually. Hold on. I've done this one drawing where I translated the actual figure into shapes. Let me show you. Like, I've done it once, and then I went and started doing some other bullshit. Hey, look at this one, by the way. I did it for Mockingbay. And this is cute. I think this one turned out pretty good as well. Come on, bro. Bada bing, bada boom. Where is it? 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 This one. Yeah. I think I did pretty nice with this one. But yeah. Anyways, we're gonna stop here. And yeah, we'll see. Actually, we're gonna finish this week with doing this kind of stuff, and then we're going to go into painting, inshallah, next week. And well, not painting. I don't know actually. But yeah, we're gonna start another course. It's about portraits, but yeah. All right, Joe. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for pointing me to and just calling my mistakes out. I think I needed that. Yeah, I think feedback is very important. My my boys just went to sleep. And yeah. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you popping in and just saying hi. And yeah, my boy Joe, it's always fun to have you, my brother. All right, peace out.